is we've created a space for innovators, entrepreneurs to come and access support. And we're happy to work with partners like World Food Programme who bring in the technical know-how on how we can support businesses to grow.
Okay. Yeah. Wow, that's very, very interesting. What particularly is this Ignite Food Challenge initiative? The World Food Programme is doing a lot of work and initiatives into interventions that are aimed at improving food security. Ignite Food Challenge.
So thanks, Chris. We're very excited about this partnership and the opportunities that it presents to really strengthen food systems in Uganda.
Yeah.
The country's made really good progress in recent years in addressing poverty rates, in addressing malnutrition, but there are still gaps, and rates of undernutrition are still pretty high, 27% stunting across the country on average. How do we address this? Well, working together, I think, in particular with the private sector, we've acknowledged as the World Food Programme for a long time that we can't do it alone, governments can't do it alone, farmers themselves can't do it alone. We really need to harness the best possible partnerships to make sure that, in particular, smallholder farmers in Uganda, remembering that agriculture makes up 25% of GDP and 77%, 3/4 of the population, the adult population,
that's right,
are engaged in agriculture. This is a massive opportunity to partner with the private sector and look at ways in which we can bring the youthful, dynamic, innovative, young population of the country and the rich fertility of the soils of Uganda together. I remember when I first came to the country over 30 years ago, one of the first things that I was struck by was just how rich and fertile the soils are, and the fact that you can have at least 2 harvests every year in many cases. So we're very excited about this partnership, and we're really hoping we're going to see a lot of people and organizations, cooperatives, etc., come forward and take part in this, because there's some really serious prizes on offer.
Okay, the World Food Programme is at the center of interventions to improve availability to food, especially to communities that are strained. Just paint us a picture of the current food system.
Well, I think, as I was saying, there's been real major steps forward in the sense that the World Food Programme is really focused on issues of nutrition and putting healthy and nutritious food on the table, along with our partners here in Uganda. We do, of course, have our regular emergency support, particularly to the refugee population. We're also working amongst the very poorest and most marginalized communities in the country, a particular focus on Karamoja. But these gaps in the food system remain. If you look at the fact, for example, that women are 82% of the agricultural workforce, and they produce 80% of the food. So there's massive potential that we're not investing in there. They are often left out of the decision-making processes when it comes to economic decisions, and are not being provided with the kind of support around agricultural services, technology, and so on, which we believe through a challenge such as the Ignite Food Systems Challenge, we can begin to plug that hole. But it's not just the World Food Programme, it's all of us working together.
Okay, Cynthia, you'll be giving us very shortly what the Ignite Food Challenge is all about, what it entails, how the entrepreneur out there who is into the agro-processing and everything around food is. But first, innovation to be able to improve the process. First and foremost, we are grappling as communities and as a country to move from this agricultural way of doing everything around food to substance format. For example, the president is always drumming this up. Come on, you need to do irrigation, you need this and this. And then there comes innovation before we even get to the level where we can adopt innovation pretty well. What are these innovations, and how do they intend to help in a very specific way the average farmer?
Okay, perhaps we must first understand what a food system is. So a food system is the way in how we produce, distribute, and consume food. So what goes into that is production, transformation, and then overall distribution. So that could be, refinery. It could be production in the garden itself. It could be. We work with different entrepreneurs that have found ways to make food very lasting. So the aspect of innovation is how can we do things differently? I mean, we now have shocks like, you know, the COVID-19 pandemic, you know, that so much food go to waste. We now have things like climatic change. So how can we introduce innovation to this equation to make sure that, you know, everyone, all Ugandans across the board are food secure? Our food systems is one that you can rely on even, you know, past 2022 into 2025, into 2030, so that we can eliminate the goal of zero hunger across the board. Yeah.
Okay, today you're launching the Ignite Food Challenge.
Yes, we are.
What is going to happen exactly?
So today we are launching the Ignite Food Systems Challenge. I call upon entrepreneurs that have tech and non-tech solutions and that can solve for, you know, that can tackle hunger, can improve food security and strengthen food systems to apply. So what is going to happen is right now we've opened the application portal. It's going to run for a month. So we'll be closing on the 21st of May. During the application process, we receive applications from entrepreneurs who have solutions that they believe can solve this challenge. So we'll now have a process where we sift these applications, select out, and then we'll have a pre-selection boot camp where 20 startups are selected. So what happens in the pre-selection boot camp is we take them through understanding, refining their pitches, because there's a pitch. It's more like, you know, presenting what you have, and how you believe this solution, how you believe this solution can solve the challenge. So from the pre-selection bootcamp, we'll go into the pitch day. The pitch day will happen on 15th June. So pitch day is these startups that will select, the 20 businesses will pitch in front of an independent panel. So these will be experts in the agricultural sector who are able to pick out solutions that they believe can be scalable. So I know that Marcus and the WFP team is looking for solutions that are scalable, not solutions that are going to die, you know, within a month or less.
Talking about scalable solutions, it goes to what is sustainable. And at the core of agriculture is a population that is largely illiterate or semi-illiterate. Now, when you talk of pitching to grand boards and individuals, you could be excluding, and very rightly, some of the local farmers who have solutions and can adopt quickly to anything tech, but because the environment within which they operate, there is a tendency to be fearful and to look at some of these innovations as elitist. I don't know, how has that been addressed?
I think we'll be ready to support any interested group who is keen to participate in the challenge, because if the idea is good, it's a good idea.
It's a good idea.
Keep it simple. Scalability starts, I think, with simplicity. Something that, you know, is good for 100, then 1,000, then 10,000. So I think really that's the first point. And then, of course, once we've got through the selection process, there's going to be a lot of support provided to those who have been shortlisted. It's not just here's $50,000. It's we come alongside you, we provide you with technical assistance to develop your business plan, to take it into a real sort of practical rollout, and then those linkages to market access actors and financial institutions. So there is a whole support ecosystem to make sure that we are inclusive, as inclusive as possible in the way we run this.
One would very rightly say that this initiative is being run under the aegis of the World Food Programme, but could be an innovation that comes from outbox. It is peculiar but not unique. Have you had pilot projects as the World Food Organization in other places apart from Uganda that you can say are benchmarks upon which this can roll out?
It's a great question. I think the first thing I would say, it's an equal partnership. We come to this as equals. We have different comparative advantages, and we bring those both to the table. But our focus is not on ourselves, but on those who are going to be submitting their applications. In terms of other examples, and I don't want to just focus on tech, but at the World Food Programme, we've made innovation a real central piece of who we are and what we do, in terms of how are we going to really reach zero hunger by 2030. So a couple of examples. We have been over quite some time now developing, it's been a live app for a few years now, called Share the Meal, whereby people who eat out at restaurants get the opportunity to donate a meal through the app, and in the process support the work of the World Food Programme around the world.
Wow.
Over 145 million meals have been donated through the app, and in 2020 it was listed as one of Google Play's best apps. So that's an example of how you can use technology and innovation for fundraising. Also, in our delivery of assistance in Somalia for a couple of years now, we've been using an e-shop facility where people who are in need of food assistance. Somalia, despite its problems, is a very well connected and technologically savvy country, and beneficiaries are able to select the food items that they want through an app on a mobile phone and have them delivered to their homes. Now, this was particularly important during COVID, where anyone going to the shop would end up in a long line and chances of infection were very high. So they're great examples there, but I think we're looking for Ugandan homegrown solutions, and that's why we wanted to put our shoulder behind this, this challenge.
No doubt I shall be returning to you shortly on Zero Hunger as a Sustainable Development Goal 2, and whether it's realistic enough to be able to achieve that in the next 7 years, since that period that was given by the United Nations is due to elapse. But tech and tech solutions in agriculture. How is the infrastructure like right now in Uganda? Are local farmers able to tap into some of the innovations before they even think of taking on the Ignite Food Challenge? What innovations have been there before that they can build on?
Okay, we're very happy to see that there've been different programs to support smallholder farmers. I can tell you for a fact that, you know, even the government has an incubation hub, Curad, and these are people that will be engaging today. So Curad helps agri farmers, those that cannot access equipment, you know, book a session and then help refine their product and make it market ready. So those are some of the partnerships and innovations that we've seen spring up and that are helping smallholder farmers come to us. But according to the current situation, the kind of entrepreneurs that we're looking for the Ignite Food Systems Challenge, number one, should be Ugandan registered. Yes, registered in Uganda, should have their business should have
even the refugees.
Yes. If they're living in Uganda for a certain period of time, residential Ugandans. Yes. So we have a portal on which people can visit, apply, and then see all of these details in regards to the challenge. And the portal can be found at bit.ly/Ignite Food Uganda.
I'll say that again.
bit.ly/Ignite Food Uganda.
Okay, no doubt. Of course, some of the details people will be able to get them during the launch. My very last question to Mr. Marcus Pryor: can we achieve zero hunger?
I thought you might ask that. It feels only it feels like yesterday that the Zero Hunger SDG was launched in 2015. And yet we're halfway there. At the World Food Programme, we completely believe that it's possible, and we continue to work for that goal. What I would say is we've had a couple of very serious setbacks, COVID-19 and now the crisis in Ukraine.
Well, we're going to overcome many of those things through the interventions that are being undertaken by the World Food Programme and players like Outbox. That's it for this segment of the Morning at NTV show. Take note, it was. I'm sure you're able to take note of some of the issues that are ongoing, and you shall be able to build on that. Let's now go to Stephen Mbide, who is around the city.